This is absolutely crazy. What I'm about to show you is a chart for Ethereum that will completely change how you're viewing everything. It is huge, and it's to do with Ethereum's long-term trend. If we actually do what I'm going to show you, we could be looking at rallying extremely high, and this is like the chart I'm going to show you will just make that super obvious, so I'm really excited for you to see it. Before I get into it, I want to highlight to you Bybit's KYC. They're going to introduce mandatory KYC in less than 5 days, and I've got a beautiful alternative for you with no KYC required, which you guys can use to trade not only Bitcoin, but also stocks, Tesla, Amazon, Apple, also indices, Forex. You've got the S&P 500, UK's FTSE 100. We've got gold, crude oil, silver, a bunch of markets that you guys would probably be interested in trading alongside all the standard crypto markets available to trade with a Bitcoin deposit. They're actually going to give you more than $5,000 in bonuses using my link in the description down below, and without KYC. So that is really cool. We'll talk more about that later on in the video. But if we go ahead and take a look at Ethereum on an inverted scale, we can actually start to do some new analysis here and get a very different view of what this chart actually looks like. And this is really exciting for me, which is why I want to show it to you. This is the way you do it. You just type in 1- and then you click on the pair and hit enter. And if we look at this chart now, basically what it's gone ahead and done is just reversed everything, right? So anytime the price moves down, it actually reflects an increase in value, and anytime the price moves up, it represents the price dropping. And it allows us to kind of get a really nice scope on this market, just to analyze it basically with a fresh mind, right, without any bias. And what's really interesting to me about this is, you know, like there's one particular thing that just really jumps out to me about this market, and it's over here. We've just got such an important area of resistance. It stretches between it's basically 1800 and 1700, which is exactly the same level that I've got on my normal chart, by the way. I just want to show that to you very quickly. It's this yellow box here. On the inverse chart, I've just drawn it the other way around, but it's exactly the same level, and it offers some real resistance to Ethereum. And what's interesting is that it offers this resistance lining up with a red Ichimoku cloud, meaning that if we do actually kind of rally into this area, we could be looking at capturing some really heavy resistance, not only with the daily Ichimoku cloud, but also with this long-term area of resistance. We know it's a long-term area of resistance because it's actively been providing resistance to us since May of 2022. That is a whole year ago that we have been struggling at this area as resistance or enjoying it as support. So clearly a really important level, and we didn't quite like see these tests right here. We got pretty deep. When we used it as support, we got deep into the range. When we used it as resistance, we got deep into the range. So far we haven't done that. So far we've just kind of gently tickled it, you know? We haven't actually gotten in, right? And so if that does mean that we're gonna, you know, kind of really test this range in a more substantial manner, well, that's going to put us really deep in a lot of very problematic areas. You might expect that we can break these areas of resistance, but they're not the best bets to make, in my opinion. It's pretty clear that this is a heavy area of resistance that could turn into a problem for Ethereum, meaning that, yeah, we might have to expect a rejection. And if we are going to be getting rejection, it's the same deal. We look to see where resistance is and see where support is. I don't know about you guys, but I'm only seeing support starting around here, and that's if I'm being generous, probably a little bit further on. You know, this is where I'd expect Ethereum to find support. So if it gets rejected up here, drops all the way down here, guess what price level that puts us at? That puts us at $2,500. Now, if we look at this with the exact same chart that I've been using for you guys for a very long time, it's showing us the same picture here, ladies and gents. It's really weird, right? I mean, the inverse chart just removes all biases and makes it so fucking obvious that this is the same setup. We've got this exact same area of support that we're potentially about to dip into, and no resistance until we get up this high. If you think that the market can't produce such ridiculous moves like that at times like this, then you are very wrong. This is exactly how markets make moves like this. That doesn't mean that we have to do what I'm saying, but right now the chart to me is painting a very compelling image, right? I mean, you know, especially when you look at it with the inverted chart, it looks really obvious that we need to come down to this area of support. And if we actually kind of zoom in and just look at what's going on, you know, Ethereum topped out up here around 2120, for example. You know, since then we've basically just been consolidating right on the top of our support range, showing me that, like, if we're not able to get a bounce, and we've already tried once, we've tried twice actually, and we're not really able to get any real sustained bounce, then we might have to visit these lower levels. And again, if that just means falling deeper into an area of support, that's a really good sign in my opinion, right? Like, I'm just not going to be particularly worried about what happens with this market until we start losing key signs of support, like the daily Ichimoku cloud right here. If we take a look at the daily EMA ribbon, we still have the support of our momentum as well. Our 200-day EMA is very nicely positioned right at the bottom of the support range, but our entire EMA ribbon continues to support Ethereum. Yes, granted, we're behaving very poorly in it. I mean, very clearly showing that we are ready to collapse. We're just spending too much time in it. We're not really finding support. Last time we spent a lot of time in the EMA ribbon. It's exactly what led to the collapse, right? So this is definitely the kind of setup that Ethereum might be painting right now. You know, and it's kind of similar for Bitcoin too. Like, Bitcoin's EMA ribbon on the daily, you know, is not something that we've been finding much relief at yet either. You know, but for Bitcoin, it does look a little bit different because we're forming that fractal pattern that I've been talking to you about. Now, if you're not aware of that, head on over back to the main channel and make sure that you watch that video on the main channel. But if you are watching this YouTube video, this Ethereum video on the Forflies channel, make sure that you come down to the daily link. Now, I want to make this point super clear because I haven't said it for a while. All altcoin videos are going on the Forflies daily channel, which you can find at this link in the description down below. But if you ever watch them on this channel, on the main channel, it means that you're watching them late. So make sure that you've gone to the top link in the description down below, subscribe, tick the bell, done all of that good stuff to guarantee that you get this time-sensitive content right when it's published. All right, so that is a big deal. If we head back to the Ethereum chart now, there's a few charts that I want to show you, and this is to do with the shorter-term analysis. This is actually to do with the area of support that Ethereum is dealing with right now. Just to build on this a little bit, you know, if we just go ahead and look at the support area stretching between basically 1808 up to 1840, I can actually just go ahead and drop this on this chart for you to show you what I mean. So about you know, roughly like this kind of area here, stretching between these two yellow lines. This is an important area for the market, right? I mean, you know, we found some rejections here, you know, another rejection here, some consolidation and so on. It's clearly an important area for Ethereum, but it's not that strong either, right? Like, this isn't the strongest area of support in the world, definitely not the strongest area that Ethereum has, in my opinion. And given that we've tested it so many times, I mean 5 times now that we've tested it as support since we broke out, increasingly, you know, now compared to before, right? Before we kind of tested it once and we, you know, took like 2 weeks to come back down here. Now it's been like every few days we would test it, you know, potentially even less. So, you know, this market clearly is just kind of, you know, struggling at this support level, continuously revisiting it. By the way, you guys ask for my Ichimoku settings a lot. They're always up here, so you can take a look at that. My EMA settings, when I show you my EMA ribbon, I don't think I did with these charts, but when I do, you also see my EMA settings. They're also available for you to see here. You can literally just pause the video, and you can see that very clearly, just for those of you that are asking. You know, but this chart that we've got with our support area right here, is you know, it really clearly shows us that we might be ready to collapse. It just kind of builds on this analysis that I've been saying, like, where we could just kind of be consolidating sideways before getting ready to make a bit of a dip down, and how that really wouldn't be a problem at all. Now, if you look at the same level with this chart inverted, it's basically the same thing that I showed you earlier. You know, but previously I was outlining this bigger area of resistance. If we just look at this, this is the exact same price level, by the way. This is the same price level. I've just flipped the chart. It looks very clear that we're going to get rejected from here. You know, which again, I mean, you know, to me, we've already started the rejection. You know, to me is more of a sign that we're going to drop down. But even if you disagree with me and you think that actually we're going to break this resistance because we've tested it many times, then you know, we're just going to fall deeper into support. You know, so it's a really strong chart, right? Like, to see where our areas of resistance all line up on the inverted chart. You know, it's a really strong chart to show us that this market does probably need to keep dropping down. You know, and again, when we consider what that means in real life, you know, that's a pretty damn bullish picture. We've got some small levels of support resistance here on this chart that, you know, I could outline to you. We're basically at it right now because that chart is slightly out of date. You know, we were just kind of like tackling that very recently with this chart. But, you know, the fact is that, like, you know, basically around about where we set our high just now, you can actually see it very clearly. This yellow line represents a key place where we've been getting a lot of reversals. So if we're able to get above this level, that's our short-term, you know, play that we need to look for in order to see if Ethereum can continue to rally up. If we get above this yellow line, we already got above it very briefly, just while I was recording this video, just before I recorded it actually, but you know, we haven't quite been able to manage to sustain that price action, which is fine. You know, if we're able to attempt it again, then yeah, you know, as long as we get to clear that area of resistance, there's not a whole lot standing between Ethereum and getting back up to that high. There's a little bit of resistance here, there's, you know, a little bit of fluff here, but really no big deal. You know, even this level in particular, not a big, you know, not necessarily a challenge for Ethereum. You know, so, you know, moving up definitely also on the cards, but if we do move up, I just don't think that we're ready. You know, I don't think that we're going to be forming a particularly big rally off this double bottom, even though double bottoms are pretty bullish. You know, it's just, it doesn't, you know, scream strength. If you look at the volume on our lows here, yes, we did have some spikes here on the first low, but on the second low we had absolutely no volume. You literally cannot even see the volume. So you know, there's not like that's not going in Ethereum's favor. So I don't know about, you know, a double bottom triggering a rally. Could we still move up? Yes, for sure. But I think that any move up, it would be capped up here. We're not going to get higher than this from where we are right now. You know, and we'd probably end up coming back down. So I don't want to see that. Ideally, I want to see that we just kind of get this over with, move down, capture the support we need here, and then properly go up. You know, and that kind of looks like the direction that this market wants to move in. Again, the problem with this analysis is just that Bitcoin to me is painting a different image, right? Like Bitcoin doesn't look that bearish. It still looks obvious that Bitcoin needs to fall down to 25k. Don't get me wrong, 25k is still the most obvious area of support for Bitcoin on this chart, and you know, it would make sense if Bitcoin were to tag it, but I'm not necessarily getting the indications that that's where this chart is going to go. With Ethereum, it's a lot more clear. With Ethereum, it's a lot more clear that this market is weaker and it probably needs to drop a little bit lower. But Bitcoin is just kind of what makes that a little bit trickier to say. I think it's going to depend on Bitcoin. I think it's going to depend on traditional finance, as I've been saying on my main channel, so make sure that you are keeping up to date with those videos. But at the same time, with the volatility that, you know, I mean, look at this with Ethereum, Bitcoin, right? Like there's a lot of money to be made just by, you know, kind of moving in and out of altcoins and playing them. I'm going to continue to talk about them in this Forflies daily channel right after this video, so make sure you are subscribed. There are a lot of opportunities that are already opening up in this market and that will open up soon. So again, BingX is a great place to be if you're affected by the KYC news. To be honest, and like I've said previously, even if you don't care about the KYC, the fact that you have access to traditional finance, stocks, forex, indices, commodities, all alongside the standard Bitcoin altcoin pairings that we have available to us is crazy, right? Like it's not everywhere that you can find that many tradable markets, and to be able to take advantage of all of that without KYC is a big deal. So this is well worth checking out. Again, they've got the same, like, you know, one-to-one proof of reserves. I think they've linked it somewhere down here, right here. You know, so this is a requirement, you know, in the modern day of exchanges, you know, post FTX collapse. So you know, they've got the safety, you know, they've got the markets, they don't your privacy, so it is well worth checking out, whether or not you worry about the KYC. So that is obviously going to be linked in the description down there for you. You'll find it right here for you to take advantage of. And again, if you're watching this on the main channel, make sure you subscribe to the daily channel, because right now, right after this video, I'm going to head on to the altcoins. So I really hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, you know exactly what to do. Drop a like, subscribe, tick the bell, all that good stuff. And let's see what we're going to take a look at next.